Today, I'd like to talk about certain qualities that landlords look for in potential or prospective tenants. For some strange reasons that you can't even understand, the landlord doesn't allow you take the. It's not because of your village people. It's not because of any spiritual barrier. Sometimes it's just simple facts. The first one is your job and career path. But they also want to know that you are able and capable. So the first thing they look at is your job. Do you have a reputable job? Do you work for a company? Or is your business doing well? And your career path. There are certain kinds of career paths that landlords frown at. For instance, I know of a landlord whom, if you just mention entertainment industry, he will cut you off. He doesn't even waste time. Look at another thing they look at for some landlords is your tribe. These kinds of landlords that look at tribes, I call them the tribalistic landlords. Now, not all landlords are tribalistic, but there are some who just have certain biases towards certain tribes in Nigeria. It could be that you didn't get the place simply because you fell into a tribalistic landlord's net or property. Get. So that's another thing. Another one is religion. There are some who are just religiously biased. I know of someone who owns a property around Abulegba axis. He does not like the Christian religion for anything. Now, don't get me wrong, I didn't state the person's religion, but I know that if you come to him and you're a Christian, he doesn't want. And he starts making different things, like cases like they won't let him sleep. They will always be having vigils, they keep making noises and all that and this and that. And sometimes even they even pray that he loses his property to them and all that. So he does not give his place out to the person who is of the Christian faith. So it could be that is another reason why he didn't get the place. Okay, so relationship status, that is number 4. Just want to know that you are responsible when it comes to dating or marriage in this case. There are those who don't even mind giving it out to someone who is divorced or who the person is, the spouse is abroad or somewhere, or not in the country or not in the state. They don't mind that, single moms and all, provided you can prove to them that you are still in communication and everything is mutual with your partner or baby daddy or whatever. Because there have been cases where the structure or fabric of the property belonging to certain property owners were destroyed because of an aggrieved party blaming the other one for cheating on them and things like that. From time to time, they try as much as possible to filter. So you could find out that you didn't get it, not just necessarily because you're single, but probably because the landlord has had past experiences with past tenants and all that. So your relationship status, very, very, very important. They look at it too. And another one is your exposure. Yeah, have you heard of landlords asking you to bring your international passport photocopies so that they can see if you've traveled? And not just that alone, they want to see stamps. I've seen things over 12 years, I'm telling you. Yeah, it's another thing that they look at, your exposure. They want to know that this person knows how to use a property. So you're not getting it. It's probably because you have zero exposure. Now, not all landlords are like this, but I've seen some. So I'm just telling you generically certain things that landlords look at. Right? You're wondering that why. I've heard of a landlord even request for bank statements. Another thing property owners look at is your influences. They want to know who you listen to. I'm serious. Casually, they just ask, so who do you like to listen to? If the person you like to listen to is fella, then to know your influences. Who do you submit to? Who counsels you? Whose words do you take to heart? That is another thing. And then lastly, they want to know your attitude and your personality. Look, I've seen a landlord who was so adamant. The client was so interested in the place. He had inspected and everything. As a matter of fact, the day he came for the inspection, he couldn't gain access to the property. I wasn't even around. when they had the meeting with the landlord, even though he came through me. But after the whole meeting, the landlord had to call me and commend the guy's personality. And someone who was initially on some certain stance had to, I'm talking about the landlord now, he had some strong stance that he didn't want to shift from, but had to, based on that person's personality. Sometimes some of us are not getting the favors that we deserve simply because we have a very, very lousy attitude and lousy personality. Sometimes even from the form you filled and the kind of jobs that you feel, there are landlords who request for your CV. They want to see, why do you keep changing jobs? Why do you do this? Why do you do that? It is not just, see, they will prove you. And as a matter of fact, if you go to a decent property manager or agent, that is the same thing they will do. Because at the end of the day, a lousy tenant reflects back on the person who referred him to the landlord, which means bad business for the agent, the realtor, or the property manager or agency in this case. So it is very important that whatever you do, make sure your attitude is in check. Religion won't give you attitude. Education wouldn't give you attitude. This is something that you have to deliberately work on by yourself. So the last thing, like I said, which trumps every other, is your attitude and your personality.